What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined as always by my dad, Sean, and today at Reactions to the Classics, we're going to be doing a top 10 list that I'm very much looking forward to. It's the Smiths Top 10, and this list comes courtesy of a suggestion from our longtime patron and friend of the channel, Paul. Paul, always appreciate you, my friend.
Definitely, Paul. Thank you, man.
And I myself, up on the channel, have reviewed the Smiths' first 3 studio records. I haven't listened to their 4th yet because I'm still planning on doing a full album reaction to it. But
not enough time in the day.
Yeah, and haven't dove into Hatful of Hollow either. So I know, even though I know like half the list, there's still half of the songs on here I don't know. So I'm looking forward to diving into this one. Before we get going into the quick facts of the Smiths and get into the list, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on our uploads. And you can also check out our Patreon page and like Paul, maybe have us do a top 10 list for you. And all that to say, man, I guess we'll kind of dive into the Smiths, one of the most acclaimed groups of all time, especially over in the UK, man.
Yeah, and I'll also mention, guys, don't forget to check out our live streams every 6 o'clock on every Friday night, 6 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Central Time on Wednesdays. I myself, Trey, have only listened to the first 2 Smiths albums, and only once, because I've just never had time to dive into the Smiths, and it's going to run their discography before we did this list, and I just didn't do it. I didn't get done. So a little bit about the Smiths from my research. Formed in Manchester in 1982, consisting of course of vocalist Morrissey, guitarist Johnny Marr, bassist Andy Rourke, and drummer Mike Joyce. Critics consider the band one of the most important to emerge from the British independent music scene of the 80s. In 2012, all 4 Smith studio albums and a compilation appeared on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. While William, It Was Really Nothing, and How Soon Is Now were included in the 500 greatest songs of all time. NME, this is a crazy thing, named the Smiths the most influential artist ever in a 2002 poll, even topping the Beatles. I don't know about that, but
NME loves, yeah, man. I know a lot of the lists they put out too, man. You know, like Queen is Dead. I think topped one of their album list and whatnot.
And several Smith singles reached the top 20 of the UK singles chart. All of their studio albums reached the top 5 of the UK albums chart, including #1 album Meat is Murder in '85. They achieved mainstream success in Europe with The Queen is Dead in '86 and Strange Ways, Here We Come in '87, both of which entered the top 20 of the European albums charts. Their live album Rank in 1988 reached the top 10 in Europe. Now, we always like to get into, Paul brought us this. Yeah. Obviously, he's a big fan of the Smiths, so we always like to see what the person who brought it to us had to say. So what did Paul say about it?
Yeah, he said the first time I encountered the Smiths was in the mid-'80s on the UK chart show Top of the Pops. Shout out Top of the Pops.
Always, shout out, man. Always great performance.
Always coming up in a lot of our research in this time. He says, I remember being gathered around the TV with my family, watching a strange guy prancing around the stage with what seemed like a small tree sticking out the back of his jeans and singing about being miserable. We all laughed, and my dad probably called him an idiot, but there was something about Morrissey and the Smiths that captivated me then and has kept me captivated ever since. They are without question my favorite band of all time, even though I absolutely love the Beatles thanks to my dad's record collection growing up. The songs of the Smiths seem to resonate with me more than any other artist. I was completely hooked by the combination of Morrissey's darkly witty lyrics, the genius of Johnny Marr's guitar playing, and a fantastic rhythm section. A thing I hear a lot from non-Smiths fans is that their music is depressing, and sure, a lot of their songs have themes of desperation, alienation, and loneliness, but those issues are unfortunately a big part of life. I'd agree with you there, Paul.
I would agree with you there, Paul, too.
However, when these dark emotions are expressed through wonderfully witty lyrics and beautifully crafted music, I personally find it inspiring and uplifting.
And as for the songs themselves, wow, what a collection of tunes the Smiths assembled in a relatively short period of time. They recorded just 70 original songs, but I reckon I could have easily assembled 3 or 4 different top 10s of equal quality. That's how good their back catalog is. It's been the musical equivalent of Sophie's Choice to pick just 10 and leave out a lot of the treasured songs. But hey, that's the name of the game. So that is a great lead into this top 10 list. We're going to ask you at the end to tell us what you think should be in there. But remember, it's very hard to put these lists together.
Oh, yeah.
So, props to Paul for even doing this. As always, we're not going to have the music up in this video because of copyright. But there will be a link below if you want to watch us react to the song, listen along with us. If you just want to hear what we think of them, just hang right here on YouTube, Trey. we might as well get into this list.
Let's do it, man. We got number 10, Handsome Devil, the John Peel session. Version comes from the John Peel session from the BBC, which appeared on the '84 compilation album Hatful of Hollow, B-side to the band's first single, Hand in Glove, in 1983.
And Paul says the track is energetic and ferocious and displays the strong punk influences of both Morrissey and Marr. As a music journalist, Simon Goddard wrote, Handsome Devil is a scintillating early warning signal that far from being bleeding hearts or wilting violets, the Smiths were a band capable of delivering a savage kick of considerable violence, both musically and lyrically. Wow.
Talk about a said right there, man.
Right there, huh?
And we're gonna have the lyrics pulled up, y'all, as always, and follow along. Especially with a group like the Smiths, you need the lyrics pulled up.
Of course.
And so, thank you again to Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Let's get to it. All right, starting off really strong here with "Handsome Devil," a song I wasn't familiar with, as I mentioned. Hadn't dove into Hatful of Hollow yet, but really, what stuck out to me, man, was again those kind of witty lyrics, a bit provocative.
Very much so. Let me get my hands on your mammary glands. I mean, as you said during only Morrissey could get away with that.
And the rhythm section on this one I thought was incredibly strong, and I kind of what Paul was mentioning at the start, not necessarily even with this song per se, but with the Smiths tunes that are more kind of depressing lyrically, like it still has that music that you kind of want to bob your head to.
Yeah, it does.
And really enjoyed Marr's guitar lick. But what you think of this one?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, Marr's guitar lick was like the highlight for me. Just a nice rocking song, man. That's I liked it.
Kind of diving into the lyrics now. It just kind of starts out this and that. All the streets are crammed with things eager to be held. I know what hands are for, and I like to help myself. So even that, kind of got a little underlying sexual, leanings on that one. And then he goes. Just kind of further on with the motif at the end of most of the verses. Oh, you handsome devil. Just incredibly catchy too, yes. Which I really enjoyed. And, have a funny line about the whole, and when you're in your scholarly room, who will swallow whom? Man, I surprised the BBC didn't
ban this bad boy.
Yeah, knowing them. And then at the very end, he knows there's more to life than books, but not much more. So that just kind of is an interesting way to kind of put this together. I wonder if at the end of the day that they didn't end up hooking up, and so he's like, you know what, the books, there's at least they're there because sometimes outside in life doesn't always work out. I don't know, man, but I do know I did enjoy that one. And now we're gonna go to number 9 on the list, another short and sweet tune that I've heard great things about but haven't had the pleasure to listen to. We got Panic, non-album single from 1986, went to 11 in the UK, and eventually was on the compilation The World Won't Listen.
Yeah, Paul says Panic rails against the cheap and throwaway irrelevance of popular culture in the 80s. The genesis of the song came from an afternoon visit by Morrissey to Marr's house. They were listening to the radio when a report came on about the Chernobyl nuclear plant disaster in the former Soviet Union. As soon as the news report ended, the DJ recommenced by playing a pop song by Wham. Morrissey and Marr were enraged by the apparent disconnect between the DJ and the real-world events, ultimately resulting in the song's chorus of Hang the DJ, Hang the DJ. Was voted single of the year by the annual NME Readers Poll. Morrissey considered the song's appearance on daytime British radio a, quote, tiny revolution in its own way, as it aired amongst the very music it criticized. It was recorded at London's Livingston Studios in May of '86. It was the song's first recording sessions since they completed work on The Queen is Dead 6 months earlier. During the interim period, Andy Rourke, the bassist, had been fired due to his heroin addiction, which had interfered with his playing. The band hired Craig Gannon to replace him, but after they rehired Rourke, guitarist Johnny Moore offered Gannon a position as a second guitarist. That's kind of how that went on.
All right, Panic coming in at number 9 on this list, man. Again, a very catchy song. Even knowing the backstory, it's kind of has a more darker connotation to it.
It does, and the lyrics just kind of play out what we what we talked about, and just ends out with so much Hang the DJ, hang
Yeah.
the DJ. So yeah, very catchy. I actually liked it better than the last song.
No, yeah, very strong. And one of our viewers, Evan David, man, he's a huge fan of this track, and so I was looking forward to this one for that reason. And yeah, it didn't let me down, man. It's short and sweet, a little over 2 minutes 15 seconds here, and yet they just Smiths were able to pack in so much just in that time, man, that made it for a good single worthy
Yeah,
tune.
I think the length of it actually works to a great advantage to it for sure. So that one was a really good pick.
Yeah, and I can see, with the outro, Hang the DJ, the critics probably weren't going to be happy with that, feeling that, Morrissey coming against them in that regard.
Yeah,
man.
probably should have used a different term.
But, but I can see why that intrigued people, man. I definitely can. And so, gotta heart that one, add it to my like songs. Again, that rhythm section, very, very strong as well. And now we're going to go to Bigmouth Strikes Again from the legendary The Queen Is Dead record from 1986. I did a full album reaction, first time listen to this on the channel if you want to go check that out after this, man. But lead single from the record, Rough Trade wanted the song There Was a Light That Never Goes Out, but they went with this one instead. Went to number 26 in the UK.
Yeah, and Mark confessed to Guitar Magazine that with this song, he set out to imitate the Rolling Stones' Jumpin' Jack Flash. He said, quote, "I wanted something that was a rush all the way through with no distinct middle eight as such. A result is a song with an unconventional structure of verse, solo, chorus, bridge, chorus. Lyrically, Morrissey is at war with the music press in the UK, whom he constantly accuses of misrepresenting him. His lyrics hilariously depict himself as a big mouth in the press, but also as a martyr, burning at the stake for having strong opinions. As Morrissey said at the time, I don't intend to be controversial, but it's very easy to be controversial in pop music because nobody ever is. A final fun fact Paul says about this tune is that the backing vocals are credited on the record to Ann Coates, but in fact it's really Morrissey's voice with the pitch altered by Marr in the studio using a vocal harmonizer.
No, man, this is a really, really strong song from this record, man. So glad it was getting a shout out in this one from Paul. So let's enjoy this. I already know this tune. What you think of this?
Very, very much just like the other. Very catchy, man. Bigmouth Strikes Again. Just and I see where I know Morrissey's vocal delivery is polarizing. I really like it. Just in general, it's polarizing. It is interesting to know as you listen to it that that's really him and that other.
Yeah, with the pitching effect and whatnot.
It sounded like one of the Chipmunks or something. But it was. And then the structure of it, as I mentioned at the start, is interesting too.
No, definitely. And I remember researching this for the album reaction and doing the whole Ann Coates thing. I was all like, oh man, that's very a cool little technique that they did there. It just starts off again, just a lot of Smith songs just hook you, I think, from the jump.
Yeah.
The sweetness. I was it starts with a great, that great guitar intro from Marr, but then it goes sweetness. I was only joking when I said I'd like to smash every tooth in your head. Oh, sweetness. I was only joking when I said by rights you should be bludgeoned in your bed. So you're already kind of getting introduced to this, big mouth, and then he identifies himself with Joan of Arc, who was burnt at the stake herself, and for I don't know her full story, but you could say she was a bit of a big mouth herself. So dripping with sarcasm, I think, throughout this whole song, especially in the chorus. I've got no right to take my place with the human race. I think he's just saying, people that are a bit outlandish, talking, saying what's on their mind, getting shunned and whatnot. And Morrissey, of course, has done nothing to help his big mouth in the last couple decades. That's for sure with his personal statements.
True that, man.
But yeah, man, really catchy chorus, man, and just like you said, Dad, using kind of that pitching effect makes this one stand out. But now, y'all, we're going to number 7. Gonna go back to the Hatful of Hollow record. I'm not familiar with this one. We got Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want. B-side to the song William, It Was Really Nothing, released in August of '84, and as I mentioned, eventually put on this compilation.
Yeah, Paul said all 4 of the Smiths come from first-generation Irish families who immigrated to Manchester during the 50s. For this tune, Marr tried to evoke the feeling of the sad Irish ballads he grew up listening to, originally calling it the Irish Waltz. It's the shortest song in the Smiths catalog at just 1 minute 50 seconds, but Every second is absolute perfection, from the beautiful melody to Morrissey's heartfelt plea for a better life to the gorgeous mandolin-led outro.
Ooh.
Definitely a tune that leaves you wanting more. Boy,
Oh, cool stuff.
Paul's write-ups are fantastic, man.
What a freaking track, man. I already gotta give the like to that one. Yeah, just beautiful, dude. Just beautiful. Short. And I know what Paul was saying, man. I definitely wish this was like a 5 minute long.
I know, I do too, man. It just, it starts out good times for a change. See, the luck I've had can make a good man turn bad.
Love that line.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a really, so please, please, please let me get what I want this time. And then the second verse, I mean, we read all the lyrics. Haven't had a dream in a long time. See, the life I've had can make a good man bad. So for once in my life, let me get what I want. Lord knows it would be the first time. And it repeats at the end. So, the beautiful, instrumentation, but then the lament of just like, man, at times have not been great.
No, I enjoyed how heartfelt this one was, on top of just how gorgeous the melody was, and very just gorgeous arrangement all the way around, dude. And that mandolin outro was pretty neat too. I can't recall any other Smith songs that feature the mandolin, so that was cool.
I was going for the Irish, look, as we read in the start.
Knowing that backstory is really cool in that regard. And I know a lot of people in the comments from the reviews I did said, man, some of their best songs like didn't even appear on their studio records.
That's Paul put a lot of them on here, so I was able to research that. And it's kind of a shame, but
so that's just kind of I think just points to just the strength of the band, that some of their best tunes, man, were B-sides like this. That's crazy. So very, very strong tune. Glad you put that on here. Cool to discover. And now we're gonna go to Meat is Murder, a really, really good record in its own right, man. Released right before The Queen is Dead, and we're going to the Headmaster Ritual.
Yeah, and Paul says this track is a spine-chilling and articulate takedown of the corporal punishment ethos of many British schools in the 70s. Contains one of my favorite opening lines to any album: belligerent ghouls run Manchester schools, spineless swine cemented minds. The lyrics are directly descriptive of Morris's secondary school experience, of which he said, if you dropped a pencil, you'd be beaten to death. It was very aggressive. It seemed the only activity of the teachers was whipping the pupils, which they managed expertly.
Yeah, and Paul also noted the compelling soundscape to Morris's harrowing lyrics. And Paul also noted the compelling soundscape to Morrissey's harrowing lyrics was based, according to Marr, on the major chord melody of the Beatles' I Feel Fine, and also his wish to compose a tune which sounded like Joni Mitchell if she had been a punk rocker. I love that, man.
Well, I'm looking forward to this one.
That's awesome.
I moved to a school in a small town when I was in 7th grade, and they had corporal punishment where they could go in and swat you with a board, and that seemed so archaic to me, but so this one I'm looking forward to.
No, definitely, man. It's a good tune indeed. The Headmaster Ritual, opener to the great record Meat is Murder, coming in at number 6 on Paul's list here. And a lot, the first track that's been longer in length, about 5 minutes long. And
because they let it build.
Yeah, man, they really did a good job in that. What stood out to you in this one?
I mean, the starting, which we already talked about, those lines. And, same old suit since 1962. He does the military two-step down the nape of my neck. And then, the chorus, I want to go home, I don't want to stay, give up education as a bad mistake. And then he goes on and talks about getting beat down in the showers later on.
That's right. Yeah, towards that last verse.
Yeah, please excuse me from Jim. I've got this terrible cold coming on. He grabs and devours. He kicks me in the showers, and he grabs and devours. Yeah, just a powerful song that's an indictment of the education system as it was then, and somewhat as it is still now in some backwards places.
No, I also really enjoy, I think Andy Rourke's, one of my favorite bass lines from him is on here.
Yeah, it's really good. You mentioned it during it, and you're exactly right.
And that riff, man, that riff is by Marr, very standout as well. And, I just like... kind of like the Morrissey at the end, the ooh la 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 la.
Yeah, it sticks in the head, man.
It just works as an instrument, with his voice, with how how the rhythm section and Mars' guitar was working, kind of a cool little outro there. I like the progression too in the chorus. You can really like tell the lament in Morrissey's voice and just like his desire to get away.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go home. I don't want to stay. Give up education as a bad mistake. And then later on, he alters the chorus slightly. He says, "Give up life as a bad mistake."
It's progressing, man.
If you continue to get beat down, bullied, this or that, eventually you're going to be like, man, I don't want to be dealing with this anymore. But Meat is Murder, very very strong record, man. And now we're in the top half of the list. We're going to go to number 5 from the last studio record from them. We have Last Night I Dreamt That Somebody Loved Me from Strange Ways, Here We Come in 1987, single number 30 in the UK.
And Paul said this track was cited separately by Morrissey, Marr, and David Bowie as their favorite Smiths track. It's easy to see why, as the contributions of all 4 members to this track are fantastic. Morrissey's vocal, recorded in one take, is one of his best ever. Mars' melody is haunting and beautiful, and the band and production are all stellar. First 2 minutes of the track consist of an ambient piano solo playing over recordings of some of the violent clashes that occurred during the coal miner strike in the north of England in 84-85, and also some whale sounds.
Hey, there we go. Well, if Morrissey and Marr liked it this much,
yeah,
man,
I know. That's what I was going to say.
I'm looking forward to hearing this one. Last song on the list I'm not familiar with, so let's get it. Well, there's a lot going on production-wise in this track as well.
I was going to say that very well produced, the best produced one that we've heard so far.
And, so it starts, of course, as we mentioned, that piano and the kind of the beauty of the piano with the chaos of, the coal people, up in arms and whatnot. And then it just goes in and, this very well might be the best I've ever heard Morrissey, man.
It sounds great.
Just vocally, I just thought it was a wonderful vocal performance on top of just having very emotionally dense and packed lyrics that kind of reflect that loneliness that kind of permeates a lot of the Smiths' work.
Yeah, and I mean, he starts out just, hot on the lyrics. Last night I dreamt that somebody loved me. No hope, no harm, just another false alarm. Last night I felt real arms around me. No hope, no harm, just another false alarm. So tell me how long before the last one, and tell me how long before the right one. So just great wordplay on this as well, and progression.
Oh yeah, and I like that. I like that idea. In our dreams we can have whatever we want,
but then you wake up and figure out, oh, that isn't really true.
And I see here at the side one of my favorite MCs, rappers of all time, Andre 3000 of Outkast, said that he wished he had written this song because he just thought it was so awesome.
Yeah.
And I think
the Smiths have an influence on all kinds of people.
Dude, for real, man. And then just kind of getting to the heart of that, where you're just day in, day out, you're still looking for somebody, man. The story is old, I know, but it goes on. And then he kind of just ends with that. It goes on and on,
goes on and goes on. Yeah, it never ends. So.
And then it was kind of cool. They brought that piano back kind of to the forefront in the mix at the very end. Just a gorgeous arrangement, gorgeous vocal performance, and of course that strong instrumentation that you would expect from the Smiths, man. Very awesome tune. Again, gotta add that to the likes. And now we're gonna go to number 4 over here. And one of the Smiths' most famous tune, we got How Soon Is Now. Originally a B-side on the 12-inch version of William, It Was Really Nothing, but subsequently released as a single in January of 85. Went to 24 in the UK, re-released in 92, and it charted higher at 16, and was also eventually put on Hatful of Hollow.
Paul said, cited by many Smiths fans as their favorite song. It's a classic of the 80s post-punk alternative rock genre. As a unique sounding guitar riff, which Marr said was inspired by the shuffle guitar style of Bo Diddley. The iconic guitar sound that Marr produced in the studio was made by running the original guitar track through the studio desk into 3 separate Fender Twin reverb amplifiers with the tremolo control set to a different oscillation speed, and each one adjusted by hand while the music played. So try to do that. But it always amazes me how guys think of this stuff. I'm sure it's just a mad scientist thing. In its review of the song in 85, Melody Maker magazine said the Smiths had, quote, produced a visceral power capable of blowing the dust off 80s inertia. A retrospective review on Pitchfork in 2015 said that The tremolo pulse that opens How Soon Is Enough is the kind of sound musicians and listeners spend a lifetime chasing after, something never heard before and never successfully replicated since. And Paul said, it amazes me that Morrissey and Marr produced a song of such innovation and maturity so early in their careers at the respective ages of 23 and 20, a song to get lost on.
Yeah, the demo was originally titled Swamp. They recalled the demo session as being accompanied by heavy marijuana use. Quote, we used to smoke dope from when we got out of bed to when we got back to bed. And Mark concurred, you're from Manchester, you smoke weed till it comes out of your ears. And the song was released on Shire Records in the U.S. in November of 1984. It was expected to sell well, and for the first time, a video was made to promote one of the band's tracks. However, the song failed to chart. Morrissey expressed his disappointment in an interview, saying, it's hard to believe that How Soon Is Now was not a hit. I thought it was the one. As we mentioned earlier, Rolling Stone put this on its top 500 songs of all time, and NME placed it in theirs as well at the number 4 spot, man.
Wow.
So,
wow.
All that to say, man, let's dive into this. How Soon Is Now coming in at number 4 on Paul's list here, and there's a lot of things to note about this track, but I think it is interesting that this is such an endearing song of the Smiths, and it really, compared to the rest of their catalog, it's sonically a lot different, than a lot of the rest of their tunes.
Yeah, I saw where the record chief of their label said he called it the Stairway to Heaven of the 80s. That is high praise, but yeah, it's definitely different than anything else on here. So much reverb on here, which we talked about at the start that you don't even really, or I didn't really pay attention to even so much what Morrissey was singing. I mean, he sounded great. It was just like, it was all just get caught up in the melody and the riff, man.
No, man, and it must have something to do with I think Marr himself has said he hasn't even been able to really replicate this exact kind of sound with what you were talking about, Dad, with going through the amps and all
that stuff. Once you do all that, it's like, well, I'm doing this one time, you ain't gonna hear quite the same thing in concert, guys, but it is what it is.
And so almost I could definitely see this in the 80s being played in like a club or whatnot, just because of that guitar like reverb. But lyrics themselves are incredibly strong as well. Morrissey starts, I am the sun in the air of a shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the sun in air of nothing in particular. And then that recurring chorus we got, you shut your mouth. How can you say I go about things the wrong way? And kind of the thesis of the whole tune.
Yeah.
And maybe the Smiths catalog, man, I am a human and I need to be loved just like everybody else does. And then he goes around. I think verse 2 is just kind of quintessential Morrissey as well.
Yeah, there's a club. If you'd like to go, you could really meet somebody, or you could meet somebody who really loves you. So you go and you stand on your own and you leave on your own and you go home and you cry and you want to die.
And then he again kind of further just is asking like, man, when's this going to happen to me? He says, when you say it's going to happen now, when exactly do you mean? See, I've already waited too long and all my hope is gone. And then, really just let the track breathe at the end there as well, man. So a really, really strong song, man, and definitely worthy, I think, on any Smiths top 10 list, as is this next song, number 3 from their debut record. This Charming Man was a single, went to 25 in the UK, was re-released in 92, went to 8 in the band's highest charting single there, which is kind of interesting. Mojo Magazine voted it number 1 on their list of 50 greatest UK indie records of all time.
Yeah, and Paul says, This Charming Man was a song that catapulted the Smiths from demo tape hopefuls into the mainstream of popular culture. Musically, the song soars with Marr's unmistakable attention-grabbing opening guitar, giving way to a Motown-like rhythm section and a chorus as catchy as any pop song you've ever heard. It's alleged to contain over 12 guitar tracks, including 3 acoustic, a backwards melody with added reverb, and the main lead guitar played by Marr on a Fender Telecaster. It marks Morrissey's arrival as a lyricist and vocalist of note. At face value, the lyrics tell the story of a sexually confused young cyclist who crashes and punctures a wheel, leaving him stranded until he's picked up by a handsome gentleman who convinces him that getting married would be a mistake and presumably seduces him on the smooth leather of the passenger seat. However, as with most Morrissey lyrics, there's an abundance of innuendo and possible interpretations.
Yeah, and at the time, Robert Palmer of the New York Times described the song as, quote, sparkling, soaring, superlative pop rock, and proof that the guitar band format pioneered by the Beatles is still viable for groups with something to say. And as with many of Morrissey's compositions, the song's lyrics feature dialogue borrowed from a cult film. The line, "a jumped-up pantry boy who never knew his place," is borrowed from the 1972 film adaptation play Sleuth. So kind of interesting to know. This is one of my favorite Smiths tunes, man.
All right.
And just that jangly guitar is iconic. So this charming man coming in, man, at number 3, and it would be coming in high on my Smiths list. I know, Dad, you've listened to this record and probably had heard this song, but didn't dive into the lyrics.
No, I just heard it one time. So yeah, the lyrics are exactly what we talked about at the start. An interesting thing to write about, but just very catchy. The sound of it is fantastic, and again, another short one that doesn't overstay its welcome. Not that any of these songs have, but it lends, I think, to the power of the song, that it is so catchy and so short. And,
this might be my favorite Marr guitar performance just because he kind of has like that jangly guitar sound kind of locked down, and with what Paul was noting, how there might be up to 12 guitar overdubs, like, so much going on.
A lot more going on than you think when you first listen to it. This is a little kind of pop-centric song, but yeah, really, really good, man.
Just incredibly catchy, as you noted, Dad. And, definitely, as with a lot of the Smiths lyrics, especially early on in, kind of that 80, 83, 84 range, a lot of kind of like sexually, the gay lyrics are kind of coming in a little bit. Of course, Morrissey's been, subject his sexuality to much debate over the years, man. I definitely read it kind of in that context, though. I think, especially the man said it's gruesome that someone so handsome should care, and just kind of, I don't know, the whole vibe of the song.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Kind of rings in that light, and I think that. That is one of the beauties of Morrissey's lyrics, that you could open to a bunch of different interpretations, this or that. I know one theory of the track, when the guy says return the ring, like, go, you're engaged or married or whatever, return that ring and come and, start a life with me, in a sense. And you kind of get your mind like, oh, this is a wise guy that he's going with because he knows so much about these things. And I always love the line, "I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear." Kind of just a cool little lyric right there. Really strong song from a record that I think is a bit underrated, the Smiths debut, but anyway, we're going to go now to absolute classic, "I Know It's Over," again from The Queen Is Dead. And Paul noted by the time the Smiths recorded The Queen Is Dead, they had a very established songwriting routine. The band would develop and record the backing track based on the tune that Marr had come up with. Morrissey would then take it away, develop his lyrics, and arrive in studio to record the vocal.
It meant that the other members of the band had no idea what the theme or title of the song would be. In an interview, bass player Andy Rourke said that, quote, "Sometimes it was slightly frustrating because we'd have all the music done. Morrissey would come in and put a vocal on top, and you'd think, well, if I knew that's what he was going to do, I would have played it differently, but maybe that's what made it special. That's what made it work." Johnny later described the experience of seeing Morrissey come in and deliver his vocal for this song as one of the, quote, highlights of his life. It remains one of the bleakest, most powerful songs in the band's catalog and never fails to give me goosebumps every time I hear it. I just found that very interesting, their songwriting technique of this. I'm going to lay it all down, and then I'm going to come in and a little almost Bernie Top and Elton John as far as it's going to be totally separate entities here and then and come together. But at least with Elton, he knew what he was doing because he was the one that was going to do it. These guys are like, it's all a surprise. So
no, man, and maybe that was some of the
magic,
the beauty of it. But Jeff Buckley also has a fantastic cover of this. But man, one of my favorite Smiths tunes. So if you never heard it, man, you're in for a treat. I love this song. What do you think of it, Dad?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's quintessential Morrissey. I think he puts in a fantastic performance on this one vocally. It's just very strong, and The first verse is interesting because it's very short, but the second verse is very long. Just interesting songwriting technique. But oh mother, I can feel the soil falling over my head as I climb into an empty bed. Oh well, enough said. And then the chorus, I know it's over, still I cling. I don't know where else I can go over. And then the second verse builds on that. So yeah, just a fantastic song. I know you're way more familiar with it obviously than I am. But.
No, man, I'm glad you enjoyed it because I think that this really kind of Morrissey's able to bring that despair from his heart and loneliness out, and one of his strongest vocal performances indeed here. And I like the fact it starts really slow. Oh mother, I can feel the soil falling over my head, and then in the outro, instrumentation picks up, and Morrissey's coming in a little quicker on delivering his lyrics, with the motif.
And he goes 8 times, man. Yeah. Repeats that thing 8 times.
So, and just so many great lines in here, and just just the rhyming, even in between, like the alliteration, loud, loadish lover, treat her kindly, though she needs you more than she loves you. I like that concept, man.
Yeah.
I really, really, really love that line, man. And then he notes, I know it's over, and it never really began, but in my heart it was so real. And you even spoke to me and said, and then we go into that third verse, where she's asking, well, if he thinks he's this or that, he thinks he's funny and clever, entertaining, good looking. Well, then why are you on your own tonight? Why do you sleep alone tonight? Just that concept, man. You think you're this or that, and yet you can't find love.
She brings in the heat on him, man.
So I really love that third verse, especially, and chorus 2, very strong too. It's so easy to laugh, it's so easy to hate. It takes strength to be gentle and kind. Ain't that the truth,
that's
man?
That's the truth in 2020 as we sit here, for sure.
And then he knows love is natural and real, but not for you, my love. Not tonight, my love. Love is natural and real, but not for such as you and I, my love. Just a gorgeous track, man, on one of the greatest albums of all time. And keeping in that vein, we're gonna go to the number one, which would be my number one. Maybe I think this would definitely be in my top 10 songs of all time.
It's in your 14-year-old sister told me this is in the top 10.
Well, I introduced it to her, man.
I knew you did.
We got There Was a Light That Never Goes Out, which I know is going to top a lot of people's list. From The Queen Is Dead as well, released in '92 again as a single, went to 25, and Paul has a great write-up on this one too.
Yeah, he said, for me, this is a Smiths masterpiece, emotionally intense and morbidly romantic. It describes a central character who has finally found love and the promise of happiness that they have been craving their whole life. The cyclist with the puncture from the charming man is now a passenger in the car of his love, driving around town to escape from home where he is misunderstood, and yet harboring a dark wish that an accidental death would preserve a rare moment of happiness. The song is bleak, sad, and despairing, and yet happy, optimistic, and hopeful. I reckon Morrissey's one of the very small number of singers that could articulate such contrasting emotions within a 3-minute pop anthem.
Marr has came up with the perfect musical production to complement Morrissey's word craft. Inspired by the Stones cover of Marvin Gaye's song Hitchhike, the tune was enhanced with strings created using an emulator because the record company Rough Trade couldn't afford to hire a string.
Gotta be just figure these things out, man.
And NME ranked this as the 12th greatest song of all time. Marr commented on the song's enduring popularity. I didn't realize that There Was a Light That Never Goes Out was going to be an anthem, but when we first played it, I thought it was the best song I'd ever heard.
Wow,
man.
What a statement.
So that's you can't get from the man himself, Marr, can't get any better than that. So let's enjoy this one and get rocking with Paul's number one tune. There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, coming in, man, number one. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I really like it. I'm going to kind of let you take the wheel on this. I've only ever heard this song a couple times, so since you love it like at that high of acclaim, which is high acclaim with as much music as we listen to. But really enjoyed it. Story is fantastic, man.
No, I mean, everything from the strings to Morrissey's vocal delivery to, of course, Marr's guitar work, just everything that's great about the Smiths, I think just like peaks with this track on top of this, angsty lyricism as well, and just kind of that yearning you can feel from Morrissey singing here from even the first lines, Take Me Out Tonight, where there's music and there's people and they're young and alive. Driving in your car, I never never want to go home because I haven't got one anymore. And just what a way to start a song. You're already kind of going in. He's with his love interest, man. You can tell that he's already alienated. He wants to, feel something essentially. And as he even notes, because I want to see people and I want to see life, you kind of just get the picture in your mind of this central character who is very lonely, doesn't, go out, do much. And he even notes, please don't drop me home because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm welcome no more. Which again kind of makes me conjure up almost like that teenage angst where you're going out and just want to get away, and then that iconic chorus, so poetic and dark and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, and if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine.
No, man, just a iconic chorus, man. Really, really love that. And then he has kind of the chance to almost make a move in the darkened underpass. I thought, oh God, my chance has come at last. But then a strange fear gripped me, and I just couldn't ask. Everybody's been in that situation. Yep. I think at some point,
gets away, man.
And then hit the chorus again, and then go with the iconic outro. Oh, there is a light, and it never goes out. Just a gorgeous song that can conjure up those emotions and feelings that hardly any other song I think has ever been able to do, for me at least, on a personal level. So, man, wonderful list.
Yeah, I think the thing with the There's a Light That Never Goes Out, it's very interesting that they didn't release it as a single till 6 years later. That's crazy.
For real.
Yeah, fantastic list. And he's got to go back to his notes real quick, Trey, because Paul has a list of...
Oh, that's right, of some honorable
mentions that'll save you guys in the comments maybe from wondering why they weren't... The following were in and out of the list at various stages, Paul says. Rubber Ring, Asleep, Well I Wonder, The Boy with the Thorn in His Side, Hand in Glove, Reel Around the Fountain, I Won't Share You, Cemetery Gates, That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore, Shoplifters of the World Unite, and What Difference Does It Make? Just wanted to get those in there, that those were all in and out of the list. These lists, as I said at the start, are so hard to put together.
Yeah, I am a little sad Well I Wonder didn't make it, but I'm glad it was in the honorable.
There you go, man.
Honorable mentions, Paul. That's for sure, man. As Paul noted, you can make 3 or 4 different Smiths lists, but now that's going to take us, man, to our favorite tracks. And I guess you want to start us off then?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting here as I'm looking at Trey's Spotify list, because 9 of the 10, I won't tell you which one doesn't, have hearts as his like songs, so this will be interesting for you. I'm going with Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want.
That was a gorgeous little tune.
It was. I know it's short, but last night I dreamt that somebody loved me. And, of course, There's a Light That Never Goes Out. Honorable mention to This Charming Man, and actually... Panic.
Yeah, there we go, man. I'm, of course, going There's a Light That Never Goes Out. I got to give This Charming Man some love, too. This is the first song I kind of fell in love with. And then, man, gosh, that third one, I enjoy so many of these for
I can tell.
different reasons, man. I don't know if I've done this yet, but I think I'm going to be the same top 3 that Paul is. I got to give the nod to I Know It's Over. Normally it's, sometimes all around the place, not in line with the person who submitted the list. But Paul, your top 3, they're going to be my top 3, man, with a honorable mention to Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want, and Panic. Headmaster's Ritual is great too. I mean, all these, How Soon Is Now, there's just so many great tracks. You're not going to go wrong, man. And we, of course, want to hear from y'all what your top 10 Smiths tunes are. As always, Dad, appreciate the research.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
And you joining this. And, man, the Smiths definitely in my top 5 or 6 bands of all time. And I think once I listen to the rest of their catalog, man, they can make a run at that top 3 spot. Just something about them, man, always seems to resonate. So appreciate you bringing that to us, Paul. Appreciate everybody watching, man. And until next time, happy listening, and we will see you.